Hey Mary, sorry to bug you at work. What's up? I couldn't catch you yesterday because you were pretty elusive, so I thought I'd track you down. Nicole pointed you out to me. You probably already know, but I'm seeing John. I'm Mary, 35, a nurse at the biggest hospital around. Mom of two boys, ages 3 and 5, and John's my hubby. He's 5 years my senior and works as a doc at a nearby clinic. He used to be at the hospital, but with the kids, he switched to a clinic with no night shifts. I could easily lay off work with John's job, but house chores don't quite suit me, so here I am, juggling nursing and parenting. Crazy, right? Up early, sorting lunches, breakfast, laundry, dropping kids off, and then off to work. But hey, I prefer it this way. John, on the flip side, strolls into the clinic at 9, so he's a late riser. By the time he's up, we're out the door. He wraps up his clinic duties and heads home around 9 in the evening. By then, I'm beat, having handled dinners, baths, bedtime routines, you name it. But I still manage to whip up dinner for John. Not that I mind really. He's not much help around the house, but it's better that way. If he tried, I'd probably redo everything. Thanks for dinner, Mary. It was delicious as always. He always says that, and it warms my heart. How about a trip to the zoo this Sunday? Sounds fantastic. The kids will be thrilled. On his days off, he takes them out, being the cool dad. At the zoo last Sunday, the kids were ecstatic, running around like mad. Seeing them happy makes me happy. That's what it's all about, right? Here you go, Mary. Huh? He hands me a cute cell phone charm with a blue penguin on it. It matches the one on his phone. Then he shows me his phone, and there it is, the matching charm. I blushed a bit, feeling like we were back in high school, but it warmed my heart nonetheless. Thanks. It's a tad embarrassing, but I'm happy, I replied. You know, penguins are pretty loyal creatures. Some spend their whole lives with the same partner, John remarked, making me chuckle. I couldn't help but think perhaps we'd be like those penguins, sticking together through thick and thin, but who knows what the future holds. One day, I managed to leave work on time and rushed out of the hospital's bike parking lot, headed for the daycare. Are you Mary? An unfamiliar young woman approached me. Yes, that's me, I confirmed, curious. She introduced herself as Nicole, expressing her gratitude for John's support. Her sudden appearance caught me off guard. She was strikingly beautiful with long hair, not someone I knew well. Are you here for a checkup today? I asked, puzzled. No, just passing by. Sorry if I startled you, Nicole explained before leaving. Her presence left me uneasy. What could she possibly want in the bike parking lot, meant only for hospital staff? That evening, I asked John about Nicole's visit. A woman named Nicole greeted you today at the hospital. Who is she? I inquired. Huh. She's a nurse at my clinic. I'll ask her next time, John replied, seeming surprised. His eagerness to end the conversation left me feeling distrustful. I encountered Nicole again about 2 weeks later, this time outside our house. It was when the daycare called, informing me that our eldest son had a fever and needed to be picked up. As I biked home with the kids, I spotted a figure waiting in front of our house. I immediately hit the brakes, pulling my bike to the side of the road. Though they were a bit distant, I could unmistakably recognize John and Nicole. I dialed John's number just to confirm. Hey Mary, what's up? I'm pretty swamped at work right now, he answered, even though he was clearly standing in front of our house. I'm sorry, our eldest son has a fever, so I'm heading home. Thought I'd let you know, I explained. Got it. I'll try to wrap up early today, he replied before hanging up. The two figures in front of our house then headed toward the clinic. I waited for a while before heading home. Luckily, despite the fever, my son seemed to be in good spirits, so there wasn't much cause for concern. But as they say, it's better to be vigilant. After ensuring he was settled with his favorite cartoon and some snacks, I took a moment to collect myself. The image of John and Nicole kept haunting me. I didn't want to entertain doubts, yet the suspicion of infidelity crept in, and I found myself gripping the penguin charm on my cell phone, as if seeking reassurance. In the evening, as promised, John rushed home and showed genuine concern for our son. He was such a devoted family man. Surely he couldn't be having an affair. At least, that's what I desperately wanted to believe. Mary, is something wrong? Did you notice something when you came home this afternoon? John asked, his demeanor uneasy. No, nothing. It just seemed like the chair was in a different position, I replied, feeling my suspicions growing stronger in the face of John's evident discomfort. I thought maybe you came home for lunch. No, I didn't come home. Maybe it's just your imagination, John chuckled, quickly diverting his attention to the newspaper. Just my imagination, huh? I let it slide for the moment but went to bed with an uneasy feeling, our conversation lingering in the air. The next day, our son's fever had subsided, so I dropped him off at daycare and returned to work. While busy at my job, the head nurse informed me of a visitor. Wondering who it could be, I headed to the designated lobby and found Nicole waiting there. Hello, Mary. Sorry for interrupting you at work, she greeted me. What can I do for you? I saw you hiding yesterday and thought I should say hi, so here I am, Nicole explained. I noticed her change in tone from our first meeting, now irritatingly flirtatious. Despite clearly being over 20, the way she spoke in public was rather off-putting. John doesn't like older women like you. He said he prefers young girls like me, so I was thinking it's probably best if you step aside. You get what I'm saying, right? Not really, I replied, puzzled. John and I are dating. You get it now. Look, here's the evidence, Nicole declared, opening her smartphone to show me a picture of them together in a hotel room, both wearing robes and looking content. Was his recent business trip a lie? Seeing my stern expression, Nicole smirked with satisfaction. Now you get it, right? Hurry up and get a divorce, old lady. Having said what she came to say, she cheerfully left the hospital, seemingly content with herself. I felt as though a decision was being pushed upon me, yet I had already resolved myself to it. There was no room for doubt. It was merely a matter of the moment arriving sooner than expected. Taking swift action, I informed the head nurse that I was feeling unwell and left work early, also requesting leave for the following day. Though she seemed puzzled by my sudden uplifted spirits, I managed to secure her approval and promptly headed towards my destination. The confrontation was set for tomorrow. The next day, I found myself seated in the director's office of the clinic where John worked, with my father, who also happened to be the director, sitting across from me. He scrutinized the photos and documents I had laid out on the desk, his expression grave. Yes, from the moment I first met Nicole, I had enlisted the services of a detective agency to investigate John's infidelity, aiming to dispel the unease I had been feeling. Fortunately, I had the means to do so. Regardless of the outcome, I viewed it as an investment in securing a positive future for my family and had commissioned a month-long investigation. Despite Nicole's limited contact, the evidence gathered over the past 2 weeks was damning. It revealed that she had accompanied John on his recent business trip, sharing the same room. Furthermore, even in their daily lives, they spent considerable time together. They had been meeting almost every day during the breaks between John's consultations, even at our own home. My father's expression soured, but he lifted his gaze with a determined look. Mary, what do you want to do? Consider the children and weigh your decision carefully, he urged. I'm filing for divorce, I replied resolutely. I empathized with my father's plight, but my resolve remained unshaken. As I delivered my decision, he sighed, asking for a moment before dialing John's extension on the internal phone. After a brief interval, John, oblivious to the situation, entered with a smile upon seeing me. Mary, you're here. Are you off work today? His smile faded as he noticed the spread of photos on the table, his face draining of color with each passing second. What is this? He stammered, his eyes fixed on the incriminating evidence before him. John, you've been having an affair with Nicole. With this much evidence, denial isn't an option. We're getting a divorce? I stated firmly. A divorce? Why? This was just a fling. What I value is you and our family, John protested, his voice tinged with desperation. Nicole came to disrupt my work, claiming you weren't interested in older women like me, I countered. That's not true. You're beautiful and you're not old, John interjected, bewildered. My father promptly called for Nicole, startling her. Doctor, you call for me. Nicole entered, visibly pleased to be personally summoned by the director, though her expression faltered upon noticing the tense atmosphere. Nicole, could you explain these pictures? My father inquired, gesturing towards the evidence on the table. Nicole's brows furrowed momentarily before she composed herself, wearing a smug smirk. I apologize, doctor. John and I are dating. Of course, I know about Mary, but I could support him as a housewife. This way, he can concentrate on his work and be a devoted father, Nicole declared confidently, seemingly mistaking my father for John's own. John, visibly shaken, appeared at a loss for words while my father turned to me with a solemn inquiry. Mary, have you decided to break up with John? I'll ensure you're compensated and will take good care of the children, so please don't worry. I couldn't help but chuckle at Nicole's dramatic speech, though she didn't seem amused. Instead, she appeared slightly irritated. It's not severance pay, it's alimony. And since I'll be the one raising the kids, I'll need child support from John, I clarified matter-of-factly. Well, that can't be helped, but I'm glad you agreed to the divorce. Now I can be with John, Nicole continued, seemingly on a roll. Stop it, John muttered under his breath, but Nicole, caught up in her momentum, didn't seem to hear him. Well then, as soon as you're ready, could you leave the house? Nicole's words were abruptly halted as John grabbed her shoulder to silence her. Her surprised gaze met his, and John spoke up. Nicole, I'm sorry, it was just a fling. My family is important to me, and I can't be with you, he confessed, causing color to drain from Nicole's face. Why? You told me you were divorcing her to marry me. You said you'd make me the wife of the future director, and I believed you. I don't understand, Nicole protested, her confusion evident. You told me you're not into older women like her. You said how lonely you are with her always at work and not at home, she continued, her tone pleading. It felt like I was witnessing a messy breakup unfolding before my eyes, and my impatience began to grow. That's enough. I'm filing for divorce from John. I'll be seeking alimony from both of you, and John, you'll need to pay child support too. That's all, I declared, attempting to conclude the conversation. My father, understanding my temperament, chuckled and interjected, well, since my daughter said her piece. Wait, did you just say your daughter? John interrupted, visibly stunned. Yes, Mary is my child and John is my son-in-law, my father clarified, causing Nicole to panic. What happens if he's no longer the heir? Can't he live in that big house anymore? Nicole panicked, realizing the implications. Mary, I'm truly sorry. John suddenly fell to his knees, bowing deeply to me. Nicole, now realizing she was nothing more than a fling, was left stunned. I can't ask for your forgiveness, but could you possibly give me another chance? John's desperate bowing likely stemmed from the fear of losing his job. However, no matter how deeply he bowed, I couldn't find it in me to forgive him. Besides the affair, there was another reason why forgiving John was impossible for me. That's impossible. Do you recognize this? I pulled out my cell phone and showed him the blue penguin charm. John's face paled, confirming his guilt. Yesterday, when John showed me the photo at the hospital, I had been elated. We had matching charms, and he had shared with me the significance of penguins mating for life. I cherished the blue penguin charm he had given me, but now I noticed something crucial. Nicole also had the light blue charm on her phone. Yes, Nicole confirmed. John bought it for me. Admitting defeat, John confessed to buying it. That's why it's impossible. We should break up. Nicole has the exact same one, not just a different color. That tells me enough about your feelings. I can't forgive you, no matter what. Please, Mary, John pleaded, but my father intervened, expressing his outrage at John's betrayal and Nicole's disruption of clinic discipline. As a clinic director, I must punish both of you, my father declared. Be prepared for that. I'm so sorry, but please let me keep my job, John pleaded. We'll go through lawyers from now on. You both can leave for today, and from tomorrow, you'll be on paid leave. You don't have to come to work. Wait, I don't understand, I interjected. John, you're a doctor. Can't you work elsewhere? Quit this small clinic and let's start over. Please, Nicole, let's break up, John added. I never imagined losing my family or happiness. Are you freaking serious? You deceived me. I lashed out, my father intervening to silence the bickering between John and Nicole. Despite John's past insistence that family was paramount, his actions had betrayed us. The thought of returning to the house where John and Nicole had apparently spent every day together filled me with dread. So, I requested to stay with my parents for a while, taking my children with me. Arriving at their house, a sense of relief washed over me. Exhaustion consumed me, and I fell into a deep sleep, only to awaken in pitch darkness. Startled, I checked the clock, realizing it was midnight. My cell phone was illuminated with numerous missed calls and text messages from John. I couldn't bear to hear his voice, so I read through his apologies and excuses for the affair. Among them, I found a plea for my father's intervention, claiming remorse. A cynical laugh escaped me. It seemed John's remorse was more about securing his position at the clinic. Fury and pity overwhelmed me, leading me to forcefully tear off the penguin charm from my cell phone and discard it. A wave of sadness engulfed me, tears flowing freely even in the dead of night. My mother, awakened by my sobs, offered her comforting presence, staying by my side throughout the night. Family's warmth enveloped me, and as I yearned to build a family like this, my tears continued to flow. The next morning, I awoke feeling lighter. Though my mother expressed concern, I've always been one to bounce back quickly. I had completely cut off all emotional ties with John. That very day, I met with a lawyer introduced by my father and swiftly arranged for alimony and child support. I left the rest to the lawyer and resumed my daily life. It took longer than expected, but eventually the lawyer informed me that the divorce was finalized. John had put up a fight, unwilling to let go of both the marriage and the clinic. However, he eventually agreed to a settlement after realizing he had little chance of winning in court. Once the divorce was finalized, Nicole and her parents discovered the news and pressured John into marrying her, citing our child. I had demanded substantial alimony, and John was left with almost no money after paying the lump sum for child support. Nicole was furious at the turn of events, neglecting housework, which led to constant arguments between them. The lawyer kept me informed of these developments. Moreover, although my father now ran a small clinic, he had a vast network from his previous role as a department head at a large hospital. News of John's situation spread quickly in the area, making it challenging for him to find employment as a doctor elsewhere. Whether he would leave town or find a different job was of little concern to me now. My father decided to rent out our former house to someone he knew, respecting my desire not to return there. I resolved to build a new home for my family of 3 with my own finances. Until then, I planned to stay at my parents' house to care for my children. Despite my young age, I jokingly mentioned to my parents that I wondered if there might be someone else out there for me. They laughed, teasing me about my impatience.